This is a really important question. I think all of us can sympathize with the questioner in that we all have busy schedules in life. Whether you're a student, whether you're working full-time, whether you are a parent, whether you are a spouse, whatever kind of facet of life that you're in, your schedule is probably filled up with things, whether it's studying, taking care of deadlines, taking care of your family, going to social events like weddings and parties and such. These are things that take up your schedule and will generally decrease your energy level. So just like when you drive a car around a lot, the gas tank goes from full to empty. When a human being or when a person does a lot of things in their day, then they tend to have less energy and their energy levels go down. So it's really important to ask this question and also to see what are some things that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he taught us about laziness, and also how can we practically implement these tips into our lives. There is a dua that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to conquer laziness, and that is Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-'ijzi wal-kasal, where he says, "Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you, or I ask you to protect me from, I ask you to save me from weakness and laziness." And this is a dua that he taught us. What's beautiful about him teaching us this dua, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what's beautiful about it is that when he teaches us a dua to ask Allah to protect us from something, it shows us that this is a disease. So you're not going to ask for something or protection for something. You're not going to ask for protection from something unless it's very harmful, right? So the fact that the Prophet ﷺ is asking for protection and teaching us to ask for protection from weakness and laziness shows that these are some things that can be diseases of the heart, right? That can penetrate the heart and become a disease of the heart. So it's really important to ask this question and find answers to it. And besides the dua part, besides making this dua and asking Allah to protect us from weakness and laziness, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ always taught his companions, and by definition, through transmission us, he taught us to always act on it as well. So don't just make the dua and then run away and think that things are going to be better. The dua is the first part, but you have to also take your action as well, right? Tie your camel and then trust in Allah, as we're taught in the hadith. So what are some things, what are some tips, practically speaking, because our body does affect our spirit, right? Your body is going to affect your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are some practical tips to increase energy levels and to conquer the disease of laziness? The first tip that I can give is that we need to look into our sleep habits and our sleep patterns. My first teacher, my sheikha, my mom, may Allah bless and preserve her and give her a long, healthy life, inshallah, as well as all of our mothers. I mean, my mom, she always used to say, if you want to have a successful day, then you need to make sure that you go to bed early the night before. If you want to have a successful day, you want to make sure that you go to bed on time the night before. A lot of times, because of Facebook, because of the internet, because of iPhones, because of iPads, because of smartphones and the internet and all these things, it's really difficult to go to bed on time because we'll get caught browsing something, or we'll get caught watching Netflix, or we'll watch play a video game, or watch a game on TV, like a sports game. Now the NBA playoffs are on, and so we get caught up staying up late. And what this does is it cuts down our sleep time, right? And then we have to wake up for either school or work, and definitely have to wake up for Fajr. And so our quality of the next day is lessened because we didn't get enough time to re-energize our bodies the nights before. And so it's really important to make sure that you try to get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Anything under 6 hours of sleep, you're going to feel it the next day. You're going to feel it, and your body's going to eventually, over time, develop some wear and tear. And so going to bed at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then waking up at 6 a.m. for Fajr, that's not really a solid plan, and oftentimes people will fail, right? And even if you do wake up at 6 a.m. for Fajr, it's not going to be the highest quality of prayer. And remember, the goal of prayer is to have a high quality prayer. I mean, you can pray in 30 seconds each time, but you want to make sure that you have some sort of meaningful quality prayer with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala each time that we pray, the 5 times a day. So make sure that we try to go to bed early, right? So we need to make sure that we try to go to bed maybe 11 p.m. Once you push past midnight, you're really going to detract or take away from the quality of your day the next day, inshallah. So make sure that we try to go to bed on time. My mom always used to say that, and wallahi, the older you get, the more you realize how true it is. You do need a solid night's sleep the night before. That's why whenever you take an exam, or whenever you have a big test or a job interview, what do people always do? They always say, all right, I gotta go to bed early, I got a big day tomorrow. Well, every day is a big day, right? Every day is a day that you have to achieve something. And each day in the life of a Muslim is supposed to be better than the next at some point, right? Even if we make mistakes, it's fine. We don't want to make the same mistakes the next day, right? So if you miss Fajr one morning, move past it. Make tawbah, feel guilty, but make sure that you don't miss it the next morning. And how can you do that? Practically is by going to bed on time. Another tip that I can give you, the second tip, is that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ always encouraged being physically fit, right? Always encouraged being in shape. You know, the Sahaba, the companions used to wrestle. The Prophet ﷺ used to race with his wife, right? I mean, racing is fun, but that's also exercise. You can't race if you're not in shape, right? So he used to go out in the desert and race with his wife, Aisha, radiallahu anha. I mean, he used to always preach being physically in shape. And this is part of having an energetic lifestyle, of having energy through your day, is being in shape. If someone is not in shape, it's kind of like if your car is not in good condition, it's not going to run as well. So if your body's in better condition, if you take care of yourself, if you exercise, then it's going to run better throughout the day. This doesn't mean that you have to have like a gym membership, right? There are parks in your community probably. Even if you don't go to the park, you can go run around the block a few times, run in your neighborhood, in your subdivision. If you live in an apartment complex, you can walk around. My wife and I live in a nice apartment complex, alhamdulillah, that has a really nice walkway. So we walk all around. And occasionally even I'll go jogging all around. I do have a gym membership as well, but I'll go jogging in the apartment complex because you don't always have time to go to the gym. But sometimes you have 15, 20 minutes, and that's a really solid jog. If you go jogging for 20 minutes a day, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, that'll really get you in the habit, especially if we eat a lot of food. And this is the next point that I want to make, inshallah, but especially if you eat a good amount of food, you want to make sure that you don't just lay down or sleep after you eat. You want to make sure that you go and do something active, like walk around, maybe go to the park with your family or with your spouse or with your friends, and just get some energy, expend some energy, expend some of those calories, because then you're going to develop some, if you don't do that, you're going to develop some lethargic behavior, and that's not positive on your energy quality. So make sure that you're in shape, make sure that you're physically fit, inshallah, and that your cardiovascular levels, alhamdulillah, are high, inshallah, so that you can enjoy the quality of your day. The last part that I want to talk about is the issue that Muslims have, and this is one of the many issues that we have, but one of the issues that we need to work on is our eating habits, right? Our menus. And because a lot of the Muslims came from overseas, from the eastern part of the world, right? We have a lot of Indo-Pakistani and Arab cultural cuisines. We have, a lot of fried food, a lot of food that's heavy in oil, very heavy in carbohydrates, so we eat a lot of rice, a lot of bread, and very heavy in meat intake. I mean, I know some families, mashallah, that they're able to eat meat sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. That's a lot of meat, and meat can actually have a negative effect on your body in terms of the amount of meat that you take in. It's very important to eat high quality food, right? So in terms of eating food, you want to make sure that we eat high quality and that the quantity is not that high, right? So high quality meaning vegetables, fruit, a lot of water. Don't drink a lot of Coke or a lot of soda. That stuff is not really good for you. If you have to have something sweet, there's fresh juices that you can drink. A cup of orange juice is actually better for you than a cup of coffee in terms of even keeping you awake as well, because of those sugars from the juice as well. So make sure that you eat healthy. Now on the quality part, we want to make sure we eat good quality, but on quantity, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ also taught us that, in a very famous hadith, that the capacity of the stomach should be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? 1/3 food, 1/3 water, and 1/3 left for air. Now, a lot of Muslims take this hadith as like a challenge, like the Prophet ﷺ is giving like some sort of millionaire challenge to, the person who can eat 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And so we always try to achieve, these 1/3s. But the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ actually is giving us the maximum limit, right? This isn't a challenge, this is an advice. And he says that the most you should eat is so that the amount of food you eat takes 1/3 of your stomach, the amount of water or liquid is 1/3, and the amount of air or space left for air is 1/3. This isn't saying that you have to eat this much, but that this is the most you should eat. Now, what you might say to this is, well, if I only eat this much, then I'm going to have to eat more frequently, right? And I'm really busy with my schedule, I can't eat that frequently. But even, studies have shown, health studies have shown, that eating smaller meals more frequently throughout the day is better for your health and better for your metabolism, thus affecting your energy levels. So even if you have to eat smaller meals a little more frequently throughout the day, it's better for you, it's more healthy for you, and it'll help take care of your energy levels, thus taking care of the disease of laziness, inshallah. So these are a few tips, along with the dua, that we should make. The tips of making sure that we get enough sleep, enough rest, and sleeping on time, right? Don't sleep late. Making sure that we're physically fit and we're active, and making sure that the fuel that we're putting inside of our bodies is high quality enough to take care of this amana that we've received from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These 3 tips are things that I've thought about, that I'm trying to put into my life, and I'd love to share with you, inshallah. I think that if we try to improve these 3 things, that will improve the quality of our lives, inshallah. So, jazakallah khair, and inshallah we can all live more energetic lifestyles, not lazy lifestyles, inshallah, so that we can be better worshippers of Allah and better family members. We can be a better member to our families, inshallah. Wa ta'ala, jazakallah khair, wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.